Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 217, I was very privileged to have Walt Blau on the podcast. He is the host of a Walt's Kitchen Table podcast. We talked about a number of things today. How he did his big move from upstate New York to Colorado. Basically, it all came down to a bet. How he got involved in the Coca-Cola company, what he like, how he got started with his podcast, and yeah, we also talked about his story about how he was paralyzed for 2 weeks. Got to say, his stories are very insightful. A great person to talk to, and yeah, really enjoyed his company. Really enjoyed having a conversation with him. I look forward to more conversations with him in the future. But yeah, sit back, enjoy the show, and yeah, have an awesome day. Yes, peace. Haha, go. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 217, I have the immense pleasure of having Walt Blau on. Got it right the second time. Blau on. He is a podcaster. After my own heart. His podcast is called Walt's Kitchen Table podcast. How are you today, sir?
Dude, I am overflowing with gratitude and congratulations on 217. Did I hear that right?
Yep, 217.
Congratulations, my man. That's a lot of work.
Hey, look, put it this way. Look, you've got like 73 podcast episodes, which are live right now, which you've been working hard on, pushing yourself. I'm liking it.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. It brings me to places and people. I mean, look at this, dude. Would I ever be talking to you if it wasn't for this kind of thing?
Well, you never know. Like if my travels like sort of crossed in like Newark, in New Jersey, possibly. Who knows? Maybe down on the Jersey shore, but that's another story.
Yeah, dude, I enjoy traveling. My family, we enjoy traveling, and everything that I've seen in the past 5 or 6 years, I've not seen Newark, New Jersey at the top of a travel list.
Look, you never know. You might make it happen this time around.
Yeah, make me a travel destination. I'm cool with that.
Just like I've flown over from the UK. Yeah, you want to go to New York City? No. I've come from New Jersey, Newark. Is that going?
I would love to be a fly on the wall when you tell somebody that. They'd be like, "What?"
Like, I have to ask, like, because before we started this podcast, you lived in Colorado for 20 years, you mentioned. Now, how long have you been a New Jersey resident for?
Well, give you a little background. I was born and raised in upstate New York. Yep. I lost a bet and moved to Colorado when I was 19.
Yeah.
And stayed there for 20 years. and then ended up back in New Jersey for a business opportunity. So I made a career with Coca-Cola in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I retired from there. I knew no matter what, I knew I was going to retire in 20 years. When I put 20 years in a Coke, I'm like, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what I'm going to do, but just something's going to come up and I'm out of here in 20 years. Well, in year 18, I got an opportunity to partner up in a video photo production company in New Jersey. So put the house up for sale on a Thursday. On the following Tuesday, I told Coca-Cola I was retiring. I did my exit interview on the next, Thursday, 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I drove to Colorado right from my exit interview. And that was in 2013.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I joined up with a lady. She was a one-man shop with video for photo production. Super uber talented. Very, very good with business and numbers, but super talented with video and photo. But she didn't like the business development part, like going out and drumming up business and doing
Yeah.
that. And that's what I did for the majority of my career at Coca-Cola. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do that now. I mean, selling, right? To me, selling. And we joined up, and her and I worked together for many years, had a great time, laughed a lot, worked fucking hard. I'm telling you, man, it's a cliche, but we worked almost to the day 2 years in. We were working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, maybe even more. It was nuts, dude. Crazy. And we came into the studio on a Sunday night and literally crashed. Like I was laying half on the couch and she was literally just laying on the floor because you got to bring gear back and upload footage. And I don't know what you know about terabytes, but we were doing multiple terabytes a week worth of footage and audio, and it was crazy. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't go this speed anymore. I mean, we've been going full throttle for so long, it seems like. So we made some business decisions, and turns out it was excellent for the company. We took a little dip in business and financial, obviously.
Yeah.
And then it just skyrocketed. We had like 14 employees and crazy amount of business. We were just cranking. And then it just kind of, I don't know what happened, to be honest with you. She's great. We're still friends and
Yeah.
all that, but her goal was to build the business big enough to where she could make true crime videos and TV shows and stuff. Cause that's what we did at the video company. We made commercials and TV shows and that kind of thing. Cause she's got a crazy passion for true crime. So now that's what she's doing full time. So she does, when I got out, sold my partnership, moved on, she dissolved everything and she's a one-man show again.
Wow, that is interesting
Yeah.
because, like, this is the thing. Okay, look, here's the thing. When you say selling is selling, you're right to a certain point. But when you're talking about having a top three brand in your corner, like selling comes a little bit easier.
Well, now see, I did find that out. Like when I was selling for Coca-Cola, I didn't have to explain who I worked for. You could be like, I'm with Coca-Cola. Everybody's like, who? No, nobody ever did that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the only place you might have trouble selling Coca-Cola is in Glasgow, in Scotland, or like down in Mexico, because like it's like Coca-Cola, like Coke drinks are so popular down there. Coca-Cola is not number one. Apart from that, yeah.
Yeah. Now here's something for you. Do you know how Coca-Cola got worldwide so big?
It has to do with the Second World War.
Yep. God, what was his name? Eisenhower. Said, no matter where there's a soldier, I want him to have a Coke for a nickel. So these Coke plants just popped up everywhere. And then once the war was over, Coke's like, dude, I'm here.
It's like, thank you very much.
Yeah. That was a cool piece of trivia. And then when I was with Coca-Cola, and I'll talk about competition, right? Everybody's competition, water, right? I mean, that got even bigger, but Beverage World, I used to read that religiously. There's a magazine called Beverage World, and it talks about trends and all that kind of thing. So the position I was in, it benefited me to read that. So you have Coca-Cola, which is obviously their top seller, Diet Coke, which is their second biggest seller, Sprite, which is their third biggest seller at the time. Now, this has probably changed drastically because the whole bottled water thing wasn't going on at the time and all that. But at that time, then you have Pepsi, you have Diet Pepsi, and you have Mountain Dew. Those are, at the time, those were their three biggest sellers. Okay. You could take Mountain Dew, Diet Pepsi, Pepsi, combine their numbers. Diet Coke outsold all three of those combined. And now here's the kicker. At the
Okay.
time, Coca-Cola outsold Diet Coke by 5 times. So you can give an idea of the market share. Yeah. Isn't
That,
that crazy?
yeah, that's insane. Because like, wow, that is insane. Now, because
Yeah.
when you say it like that, it's like, yeah, uh, Diet Coke took all the rest of those other brands by itself
Outsold them.
combined, outsold them, which is scary to say the least. But when you're saying Coca-Cola outsold Diet Coke by 5 times, that is even more mental. But like this is the thing. The other thing, what comes to my mind, which also like just sitting here, just getting to know you, but to go from such an institution like Coca-Cola and like go, you know what? I've done my 18. I'm now going to video production. That's crazy too. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
but how about at 19 driving across the country in a pickup truck with $400 in my pocket?
hey, look, this is the thing. Doing that type of thing, that sounds like one of those crazy. Yeah, some people say crazy. Like some people go, yeah, need that little bit of adventure because yeah, like whereabouts in upstate New York were you?
It's called a night in New York. So at the time, uh, farming was big, dairy farming was big,
Mm,
and we didn't have a family farm because we lost it due to a fire when I was really young, like 1 year old or 2 years old. I was
yeah.
super, just born. But my uncle and cousin and just the community was farming.
Mm.
And then you ever hear of a night of silversmith? It's like pots and pans and forks and knives and all that kind
No, I have not. But please let me
of.
like
So
enlighten me. Hey.
my hometown is called Oneida,
Mhm.
Oneida, and the factory was there. It was called Oneida Silversmith Factory, and it employed, as you can imagine, employed half the county. It was crazy huge.
Mm.
So you either worked there, worked at a farm, worked at Hood Dairy, which was a big dairy processing plant. So those were the big industries where I grew up. But my parents, especially my mom, was like, "You got to get out of here." Just so you know, at 18, I'm charging you rent. You're leaving at 18, or
Mm.
I'm charging. I'm like, and she told me that I was like 13 years old. She's like, "You're out of here, bro."
It's like a happy 13th birthday. Oh,
By the
thanks,
way,
Mom. In 5 years' time, I'll be charging you rent. And like I'll be coming at you like Paulie in Goodfellas. It's like
oh,
it's like a,
a great movie, dude. That's a great
oh
movie.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh, uh, so I moved out when I was 17 because I
Mhm.
had the opportunity to do so. And I just knew that the town was dying. There was no industry. I saw when everybody would leave, nobody was coming back, and it was
Mm.
just crazy. I'm like, I got to get out of here, man. And my mom is like, you need to leave. The world's a big place. Go check it out. If you ever want to come back, this place will always be here. So I said, all right, I'm out. See ya. Threw what I could in my pickup truck. My dad says, go to Route 80 and drive for 2 days and you'll hit Colorado. And I said, okay, see ya.
So, so that's how the bet came about. It was like, yeah.
No, the bet was my buddies didn't believe I was going to leave.
Ah.
And they bet that I had to leave and I left that next morning. So we bet that night. I left the next morning.
Like, okay, because it sounds like you sound like a very complicated character, to say the least.
Oh, it's the other way around, dude.
Like, hey, because like this is the thing. Okay, look, you could have stayed in your hometown quite comfortably, everything like this, and like, yeah, you were informed by your mother on your 13th birthday. In my mind, it's your 13th birthday. It's like going, you're going to be paying rent, but you like skipped out when you were 17. It was like, and then you went to Colorado off a bet from a friend. But when you got to Colorado, I don't know how you managed to get into like the Coca-Cola organization. And then you stayed there for like 18 years.
Yeah, that's a fun story, man. Is because I didn't have much money.
Yeah.
And I remember it's the Chief Motel in Colorado Springs. And if you ask anybody back in the 90s, the Chief Motel, not a good place to be, dude. There were cops were there every night, gunfire, prostitution, the whole thing, like you would imagine.
And you didn't partake, of course.
No. That was later years, but anyway.
Okay.
Right, like 3 blocks down was a 7-Eleven. You're familiar with that? It's a convenience store.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And I would go there because I could walk there. I had my truck, but I didn't have a lot of money. And so I'd go there and I go, hey, man, you know anybody hiring? He goes, I know Coke's always hiring. Can you drive a truck? And I'm like, hell yeah, I can drive a truck. And he goes, the Coke guy's here on Thursday or whatever day it was. So I came and just hung out like you see. I don't know if you guys here in America, there's like, and especially in Newark, there's like homeless people like hanging out around convenience stores and corners. And I was that guy for that day because I'm like, I have no idea when the Coke guy gets here, right? He could be here at 4:00 in the morning. So first thing in the morning, I just stood there. And I stood there and I stood there and I stood there. And finally the Coke guy comes in. I remember him to this day. Jeff Potter's his name. And I said, hey, brother, this is, I'm looking for a job. And he goes, yeah. Can you drive? Yep. There's Coke's hiring. Just go down to this address and da-da-da-da-da. So get in my truck, drive down. I think it was Walnut Street. Man, that was a long time ago. So I come in little shitty because back then it wasn't Coke North America, which is Coke North America is the Coca-Cola company. So then they have bottlers and people that will have the franchise throughout the states. So this company at the time was called Wichita Coke. So they had the bottling rights and the distribution rights that they pay Coca-Cola, and they have a territory, right?
Yeah.
So I found this out after. I didn't know at the time, but so this little shitty office, it looked like something out of a 70s porn movie, paneling and ugly carpet, and it was crazy. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, hey, and I'm here to have a job, apply for a job. She's like, oh, here's an application. So I'm sitting there filling it out. And this guy big guy. I come find out he's 6'4", Bill Bosey, big guy. He comes in and he goes, what are you doing? Filling out an application. He goes, you need a job? I go, well, that's why I'm filling out an application. He goes, come. Yeah. I was like, God, I'm a smart ass. He goes, come with me. Okay. So I follow him through the warehouse. We go up this second floor and he goes, sit down here in his office. And he's sitting there and he starts doing paperwork and he takes a couple calls. And I was probably there for 45 minutes. He didn't say a fucking word to me the whole time. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'm my mom taught me, be polite, don't interrupt. And he's just busy the whole time. So I'm just sitting there, and he stops and he takes a breath and he looks up at me and he's just staring at me. And I go, so what are we doing, dude? He goes, oh, you can start tomorrow, 4 a.m. Be here. Okay. I go, what am I going to do? He goes, God, what the hell was his name? Dan, I think. Anyway, he goes, we'll call him Dan. He goes, meet Dan here at 4 a.m. He'll show you what to do. And he gets up and leaves his office. And I was like, okay. That was March 7th. I started and I didn't have a day off until middle of October. And that was by choice because I was single. I was living at that time, I was living in a shitty apartment, sleeping on an air mattress. I had an old lawn chair that I had in the living room with a 19-inch television that somebody gave me sitting on a milk crate. That's what I had for. So I just worked. I was just like, fuck it, dude. So by law, probably, excuse me, probably the same with you guys, Department of Transportation, DOT, you can only drive so many hours a day.
Yeah.
Right. So when you start at 4 a.m, I was done by noon with the truck because by law, I couldn't drive more than 8 hours for the day. Excuse me. And so then I would come back and I would ask anybody if they needed help. And then merchandising, which is like Walmart and Safeways, like the big stores. I don't know what you have for huge, but you know what, obviously Walmart, right? So what they would do was they would drop off tractor trailer loads, pallets of soda into the back room. That soda had to be put on the shelf. It's called merchandising. So I would drop off my truck by noon. I would get in a company car and I would get with whoever and they would say, this store, and this store needs to be stocked. And I go, see you, dude. And I take the company car and I go stock all these stores. I'd probably get home about 7 at night. I'd take a shower, crash, be back in my truck at 4 a.m. I did that for the whole year at Coke.
What was the sort of, what was the real drive behind like working so many hours for you?
I didn't have anything else. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have nowhere to go. I didn't, so I said, fuck it, man, I might as well make money. And then I realized super quick that if I'm going to be longevity with the company, I got to get off the truck because physically you can't do that for years and years and years. Your body just can't take that. So then I just started applying for management positions and moved up. And then the last position I held it for about 7 years. And then it was just entertainment and driving around and entertaining people. And I said, fucking, I'm out of here. But great company, amazing company to work for. Now, Coke North America.
Yeah, because it is kind of mental because, okay, if you look at sort of today's society, it's a case of like going into a company and sort of like, okay, I'm going to like start on this run and then like basically, just put in the hours, claw my way up and then make things happen. Because I imagine the wage you got when you first got there compared to the wage you got when you left must have been night and day. Not even comparable.
Oh yeah, they're not even you can't even come close to comparing the two. I mean, between an office and a company car and taking clients to football games and baseball games and hockey games and concerts. And, that was more of my position when I left, but I like what you said, it just built into me, my work ethic. Nobody's going to give it to you. No. Who's going to give it? No. I mean, you got to work for it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things which is missing for quite a lot. Like, look, we live in an instant gratification, like society. Because back in the day, TV shows once a week, and once it disappeared, it was gone. Not unless you got it on DVD or a videotape, and then
you had to wait for it to come back on DVD.
Absolutely, frig Disney Vault. But now, instant everything. Sorry, I interrupted you, but
no. And my theory on the instant gratification, I don't think we'll just use the phrase millennial. Okay. I have no reason to shit on them, whatever. Okay. We'll just use that for an example. It's not, the instant gratification doesn't come from them. It comes from society and technology. Just like you just said, growing up, I couldn't click a button and have food delivered to my house. I couldn't click a button on my phone and have somebody pull up and take me to wherever I want to go. Instant. I want to watch a movie. Shit, dude, at the gym, how often do I pull my phone up while I'm doing cardio and just pull up any movie that I want? Any movie. Right? So this instant gratification is kind of from society and technology. This is obviously it's my opinion, is from society and technology now that they're so used to having everything. Boop, right here. Right here. Okay. You want something? Yep. Amazon delivers it within 24 hours. You're like, oh shit. Right. So now you go into a position at a company at $19 an hour and you really don't have any responsibility. So here's your responsibility. Okay. In 4 months, how come I'm not making 125,000 and I'm not the manager and I don't have a company car? And you're like, what? You just started. It's been 4 months. And they go, exactly. It's been 4 months. How come I don't have all this? But they're so used to, and I'm to the point now, I'm so used to having anything I want right now, boop, at a touch of a button. Right. So the instant gratification, it took me a long time to come to that conclusion because, I work with my job now, I work with a ton of young people and just talking to them and there's a handful of them that are top notch. I worked with a lady yesterday. I'm like, Jesus, you're going places. She's 19 years old and just kicking ass. And then there's a handful of them are like 19, but I'm only getting paid $19 an hour. That's not my job. You're like, what? Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to change your attitude. So I was in a position temporarily last couple of days. So I didn't feel it was my duty to just come in out of nowhere where these people been here for years and I'm going to be here for 2 days. I'm not going to come in here and start talking like that. I'll help you out because I'm leaving in 2 days. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't seem it right to sitting there and be like, how come you're not doing this? Why don't you do that? It wasn't my place, but
people looking at you like, who are you? And why are you talking? Huh? It's like, get out of here. It's like, well, like, God damn, Grandpa. What? It's like, I'm not that old. It's like, if I doubled my age, I would still be here. Would you? Oh, shut up.
Yeah. Be like, oh, hold on a second, Carrie. Maybe not. That's funny you bring that up. I heard this comedian said this, and I thought it was just fucking hilarious. He goes, if you're going through a midlife crisis, is it truly a midlife crisis? And everybody's like, I don't know. And he's like, this is how you find out. Double your age, and are you still here? It's like, you're in a midlife crisis. If you double your age and you're not going to be here, dude, you're over the edge, bro.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like. Yeah, I'm not too sure how many of us are going to have the longevity of Betty White. Rest in peace.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean?
Man, isn't that amazing, dude?
Oh God, like, so that amazing. Classy lady throughout, like one of the best, I would have to say.
100%.
Yeah, but like this is the thing. One of the things also with like just sort of popping back with the instant gratification, it's like, yes, society today, you kind of like go, because you're getting everything so instantly, like if you start any project or like side hustle or anything like this, you've got to kind of remind yourself it takes a long time for things to grow, truly grow. Like, not, it's like, hey, wait a second, I started this, how comes I'm not like have a fleet of this, or like I'm like well known everywhere, and like so it's like you're kind of like, okay, the sobering moments need to come to pass.
No, 100%. I agree with you. And if you look, there's almost 3 million podcasts out there. Did you know that?
No, put it this way. I know that I've heard that number before, but I'm always a little bit skeptical about that number because the whole thing is, look, I've been podcasting, you've been podcasting. Now, the amount of people out there who will go, I'm going to start a podcast. You're like, great, you get out there, you start your podcast. Thank you, I will. And away they go. 1 episode down. Okay, 2 episodes. 3. It's harder than I thought. 4. Get to 5.
Yep. And the breakdown was 50%, 60% have less than 5 episodes. So going
Yeah.
back to what you're saying, yeah. Yep, it's just going too with the, hey, I'm going to start. I'm in Facebook groups, obviously.
Yeah.
With this one uh, podcast one, I was trying to think of the name, but I look at it. I'm not very active in it, but I like to look through it because you consume information and you might pick up a nugget of good stuff,
Yeah.
and so many people get on there and ask, I'm about to start my podcast. The one, they haven't started yet. The
Mm.
second question is, how do I make money doing it?
Aye.
I'm like, dude, you're doomed right from the beginning, man. Yeah,
Uh,
I just love bullshitting, dude. I just love talking to people about random shit and laughing and finding out something. Like the tagline of my show is, everyone you meet knows something you don't.
mm.
Right. So we're going to sit here and talk for however long. And I'll probably figure out something. I'm like, I'll be going, no shit. That's cool. And I get a good laugh. My endorphins get up. I meet somebody cool. And then we take it from there. And that's kind of the whole idea for me. That's why I started it.
Mm.
Um, I have a sponsor. I don't make jack from it. He's a buddy of mine. It's a CBD company. I was using the product long before I started the podcast, and I get a check every couple months, and it ain't shit. Don't cover much, but and I get product from it, and I'm helping him out a little bit, and he helps me out, and that's it. That's it, dude.
Hey,
Collaboration next.
no,
Yeah.
put it this way, at least you're getting a nickel or a dime from it. It's, you know what I mean? Look, I will tell you this now. Like, yeah, this is episode 217. And like, yeah, have I made any money from my podcast? No. It's but like the whole thing is there is a craft what you've got to like learn from doing a podcast. Like people who go, oh yeah, podcast it, like you're just sitting there talking. It sometimes it's not, you are, but you're not. It's all about the craft of a good conversation. And like the amount of times we have BS conversations where you're just like, okay, have I had anything valuable from a conversation I've had with this person for the last half an hour? Yes or no? More times than not, it's no, but you know what I mean?
Well, now let me ask you this. How many episodes you got on the cutting floor? So you got 217. How many didn't make it?
Like, this is the thing. I've like, so far, all of them have made it. And like, the whole thing is like, trust me, there's been a couple out there, I will never name names, where I've just been like, I really need this to end now. It's like, please, you end it, I can end it. It's like going on forever. But
man, look at the time. Wow, look at that.
Oh,
I gotta go.
Oh God, someone's calling me. Yeah.
So what I tell people is, when I first started, I never put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
And some of the shit got crazy. It's 3.5 hours and all that. And I'm like, no. And then there were some like 40 minutes in. I'm like, all right, so that's awesome, man. We're going to shut this down. And people are like, really? Only 40 minutes? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay. This is great. Send them on their way after, sitting here doing my paperwork. Delete. Yeah. So it's, but just like anything, you got to dig through the shit to get a diamond, right?
Hey, absolutely. Yeah. But like, yeah, like this is the thing. Without some of those sort of more challenging episodes, it's a case of I wouldn't get better. And like, it's one of those things where you need to work on getting better, getting those reps in. I don't know, like, is it just you just do episode after episode, or do you do other things mixed in with the podcast to get those reps in?
What do you mean by that?
Like basically more conversations outside of podcasting, or is it just I do the podcast or anything like that?
No, I have conversations with people outside of it. I try to build a community. So that's a lot of fun. And, it looks like that you and I will be, continuing this long after this episode. That's what I feel like anyway. And so we have conversations, past guests and people that's never been on.
Mm.
My day job, I'm nonstop talking all day. And it's free flowing conversation. Sure, it has a little bit of business to it, but it's nonstop. And I deal with the what do you call it? The whole spectrum of diversity of people.
Hmm.
So I really enjoy it. That's a part of my job that I really enjoy. Is one stop will be this old white dude that's been living in the guts of Newark, and he's the only white guy for 70 years, and he's got his opinions of the world, and it's quite interesting, right? And then my next stop is, a guy that runs a extremely huge and successful business, and he has his opinions of stuff. So I like to hear everybody's opinion.
Mm.
I like to hear what people think and what makes them tick, what makes those people move down the road.
Yeah.
What makes me move down the road, you might go, that'd be a waste of time for me. But I'd like to hear what makes you move down the road.
Mm.
And if that makes you happy and that's what you do, I don't want to take nothing away from you, because that's what makes you tick. I'm not going to sit here and go, why do you do that? Ugh, stupid. Right? I mean, how many times do you have people tell you that?
Well, you know what? Like, this is the thing. Because I can put on a tense look. Not many people. I just like,
yeah. The fuck?
It's like, I was gonna say something to him, but no. It's like, how you doing? I'm good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, though, and then on the outside, I mean, I'm in some groups because I always like to learn.
Mm.
And there's this one group. I'll send you the link to it. Check it out.
Oh.
I have learned an incredible amount of stuff from this guy. It's about podcasting in
Yeah.
general. In general, just the stuff that he puts out is amazing. And a handful of my stuff that you see on my videos and on my Instagram and that kind of thing, I got the ideas through this group that this guy has. So I find a lot of value with it, and I like to get his name out there as much as possible. Travis is his name, and Poddex is his company.
Travis and Poddex.
Poddex is he makes these cue cards basically.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the gift of gab like we do, he has these cards. Like, I would sit here and have these cards laid out where you can't see me or see them, and it gives you topic ideas, right? And each deck has its own own overall topic, right? So if you're into Star Wars, he'll have a thing of those, and if you're into this, he'll have, he does it specifically. They're great. I don't use them because I can carry on a conversation.
You're an eloquent fellow. There you go.
Oh man! Oh wow! I'm going to tell my wife. I don't think I've ever been called that.
It's like there you go. It's
eloquent.
No, put it this way: I'm the first, but I will not be the last. There you go.
Okay. Good looking out, dude. Good looking out.
There you go.
So, what got you into this stuff, man?
Now, with regards to podcasting, now here we go. I've told this story a couple of times, so if anyone's like, "Oh man, you keep on saying this," but I find it to be true. Like, when you, like, no one, like, they tell you this when you're younger. It's like, oh yeah, enjoy your time now, because when you you have all your friends, it's like, yeah, but things will change. So when you go out, when you're in your sort of late teens, your early 20s, it's like you turn around and go, "We are Legion," and everyone goes, "Oh," you're like, "Oh, okay, great, yeah, no worries," and away you go. Late 20s, like early 30s, you turn around, "We are Legion," and you hear, "Oh," not as many people, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Hit your 30s, or 40s, around about that. You turn around and go, "We are Legion," and like, you guys, no, we're more like a crack elite group, which just go out there and think, like, take on things. But that's about it. Like, the number dwindles each and every time. And as the number dwindles, those opportunities to have those conversations with people you never would have those conversations with as each decade goes by, because you're not getting out there as much, you're not getting involved as much, you're not just having those random social interactions. You get set in your ways. That's the reason why, because, okay, you're now talking from going from talking, interacting with like maybe 50, 60 people on a regular basis. You're now just interacting with five, six people. Like, if you're lucky, sometimes it might just be a couple of people, if that's the way your friendship group goes. But with podcasting, it gives me the opportunity to talk to people around the world, to discuss many of the things, their hopes, dreams, business opportunities, like their sort of views in the world. And it helps me grow. And I still get that opportunity to speak to many different people. Like, yeah, if it wasn't for podcasting, I would not have the opportunity to have all of these conversations with some of the great and the good of the world. And like, yeah, it keeps things going in the right way. And yeah, we live in an age also where discussion is becoming such a rare thing. Like being able to have that back and forth, where the good ideas grow and the bad ideas grow, and then they fight it out. And yeah, hopefully the good will overcome the bad. But if you're not having these conversations and you're just in your own little bubble, that's never a good place to be. You know?
No, no. That is, I love that narrative. Great narrative. I like the Legion thing
Hey,
and going why I call, because people are like, I'll say it's, Walt's kitchen table. They're like, oh, you talk about food, huh? And I'm like, fuck, I got, if I put more effort, if before I started this, if I put more thought and energy into the name, it probably would have been a little different. Am I sorry I call it this? Absolutely not.
mm-mm.
Because the idea behind it is me growing up, going to your Legion thing. It's exactly the same. I'm just telling it different words. Is our kitchen table in our house was like the center of the universe. Our front door was a revolving door. And my mom sat right there with her back against the refrigerator, smoking her Pall Malls and drinking coffee and holding court, dude. And not every, a lot of my life lessons were learned at the kitchen table. The conversations you have at the table. I mean, if I came over to your house right now, where are we going to hang out? In the kitchen table,
Hey,
right? I mean, that's. I mean, right? Do you agree on that? I mean, most of the time, that's what's going to happen.
it'll like if you came over, if you were here in London in the UK and you were over here, like, yes, it'll most probably be in the front room, the living room, because like, uh, let's just say our kitchen table is itty bitty and small,
Sure,
but
but you
in
get the
that type of saying, yeah,
yeah, you get
absolutely.
and and my narrative that I've put in copy and stuff throughout my stuff. It's where laugh and cry and
Mm,
stories and good conversations and life lessons. I've done all that at the kitchen table. So my idea is come sit with me at my kitchen table. And like you said, let's have some conversation. Let's hear each other out.
mm,
And that spreads into maybe something good coming out of it. Do I change your mind? Maybe not. But do you see my point of view? Literally, really see my point of view and
mm,
go, okay, I can see why you think that and why you have that point of view. I don't agree with you, but that's cool that you have that point of view
mm,
because now that we've had this conversation, I can see why you carry that point of view.
mm.
Cool. Good luck, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not going to say you need to change. That's
No.
wrong. That's wrong.
But with that conversation, it gives the opportunity for something potentially new to grow.
Absolutely. 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 Because again, the tagline of mine, everybody you meet knows something you don't.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
let's see, how's that go? You know what you know. You don't know what no, wait a minute. You know what you know. You don't know what you
Don't know.
don't know. And you know what you don't know? Oh, you don't know what you don't know. That's the other one. Sorry, man.
Okay, okay, who's the puppet master in the background?
My wife and I share a desk, so she's clicking away and listening to us too. But
Yep.
yeah, but I like the phrase "you don't know what you don't know,"
Mm.
and that's the big piece of the pie, right? If you break it down into a pie, the sliver of it is what you know,
Mm.
the sliver of it is stuff you know you don't know, and then the rest of it is you don't know what you don't know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Remember, yes. Did your wife hear me say you're an eloquent fella?
Well, she can't hear it because of my headphones. But I said, he said, "Did you hear that he called me eloquent?" Oh, I said, man, don't ask, hey, dude, don't ask me to spell it. But I'm the world's worst speller. But yeah, yeah. But information, conversation, and when people ask when they're coming on my show, I said, just imagine if you're sitting at the coffee shop and I come and sit next to you and we kick up a conversation.
Mm.
That's what we're doing. That's it.
Yeah. Nice. Simple.
You know? Yeah. I mean, that could be 45 minutes long or it could be 3 hours long, right? Depending on when you're going to catch your flight if we're at the airport. But one guy, I had a super long stretch of this happening on my show. I invite people on. They're like, I have nothing to talk about. I go, man, you got a ton to talk about. Just sit down. Trust me, I'll keep the conversation going. And 2 hours in, I'm like, okay, we're going to shut this down. You need to shut the fuck up because and they're like, what? I'm having a good time. I go, we've been talking for 2 hours. So, they're like, what? Oh my God. I didn't think I had that much to say. I'm like, see, that's the power of a good conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
With regards to what would you say have been some of your biggest sort of takeaways doing podcasting for the length of time you've been doing it, which, you know what I mean? 73 episodes. Respect.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Just I guess, finding out and meeting people. I just have this unquenchable thirst to find out cool stuff, and just different things. I just like finding out little facts and talking to people and laughing. Humans are made, I believe, humans are social animals. We're social beings. We want to be around people. We want to have conversation. We feel good when we're around people.
Mm.
But now with all this craziness happening, that changed. And now, we can connect this way, obviously. But I don't know, probably my biggest takeaway is the enrichment in my life, getting to know the people that I've had as guests. Yeah. I'd probably, yeah. Shit, dude, I've never been asked that. But yeah, that's probably, yeah, it's completely enriched my life knowing people. And, I sent out holiday cards and emails and stuff to my guests that been on, and I got stuff in return. And that's just my style, is to keep that relationship going. And I enjoy that a lot, and out of the blue, somebody will send me something on Facebook Messenger or private mess, DM and Instagram. Hey, saw this and thought of you. And I ain't talked to them since the episode, which was 4 months ago. And to me, the ability to have that impact on them and their impact on me, worth it.
I hear that. And you know what? There's real power behind that, because yes, the impacts we have in this world, rather either great or small, are so important. Without them, how can we develop? How can we grow? How can we move forward in any sort of direction, be it negative or positive?
Yeah, but an EKG is no good when it's not good news when it's flat. Right?
Well, yeah.
Ups and downs are great things to have.
Mm.
So, and to have something bad happen, now you have it to compare to the good in your life, right? So now, if everything was hunky dory and we were sitting around a campfire playing guitar and singing "Kumbaya" all the time, it's not in our nature, man, to do that. It's
Well,
not human nature. There's balance in the world. There's good and evil. There's dark and light. There's all that. So sure, am I a fan of the light and the good? Absolutely.
mm.
But you got to have balance. And people are like, no, everything can be great. And I go, okay. So human beings as a species have been on the earth for not even a blip of how long the earth's been around. Go outside under any tree or any bush or watch any videos on YouTube or Instagram or whatever you listen to or watch, and you're going to see how truly evil Mother Nature is. Or you're going to see how truly beautiful Mother Nature is. Watch my one of the best things on Instagram. Nature
Ah, I
nature
don't.
is mental. Have you you do that?
Like every
Perfect.
now and then, when I just want to just see something and go, "Oh my god!"
Right. But
Yeah,
that's a perfect example of balance,
yeah.
right? You got to have all that you see on there to have all these beautiful trees and all this, right? I
Mm.
mean, that that's what I think anyway. That the balance is huge. The yin and yang has been around. The symbol of the yin and yang's been around forever for a reason, and there's a reason that people still use that to, um, to reference to.
Yeah, it's one of those things because, like, yeah, nature, like the yin and yang, basically all of these things which equate to balance in someone's life. It's one of those things when you see it, when you see people when they're out of balance, or when you have those conversations with people, where it's like, yeah, you're just like, you're not balanced. You're either going off too crazy this way, or you're not getting any crazy at all. So like it's a case of, yeah, you're living life to the max, or you're barely living at all.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get, like, make sure you have try to get some balance, because it's not perfect, because in either side of the yin and yang there's a little bit of each of it in there, and trying to work on that. Whew, you know.
Yep, that's a great point. And yeah, there's a little bit of dark in the light, and there's a little bit of light in the dark, and that's
Mm,
there for a reason, right?
yeah.
Balance. If that thing starts spinning around, if those little things weren't in there, it'd probably be off balance.
Mm. Like this is the thing. Like you strike me as a person who, how can I say, like how, you can be chaotic, but you find balance quite quickly when you need to be. How, like, how did you get this quality about you?
Uh, you've probably seen the meme or the saying, right? Because I know I've seen it a ton all over social media. Is the reason that I find peace the way I do is because I know how to be truly violent. And I've lived back in my day, violence was just an everyday part of life. True violence, not just like shooting people on a, a video game or getting in a street fight once in a while. But
Mm,
so for me to find, I've seen that side of it, and I've been part of that side of it, and I prefer the light side, obviously, but I appreciate and I understand the peace side of it because I've seen the violent side. Like, yeah, you get close to somebody that's I've never been. I'm not a vet. I've never been to war. Any of that.
mhm.
But you sit down with a vet that's been to war, and if you're close to them and they open up and they talk, obviously they've seen true violence. I mean, how much more violent can that be? right? If you're in the middle of that kind of action, there's really no more true violent other than, you kidnap somebody and you be violent to them, you tie them in your basement, that kind of violence. But
Mm.
massive violence, like in a war, they see that. Now they can understand peace because they see violent. So I believe that's a great question. And I'll be rolling that around in my head for quite a while. I'll probably kick back to you in a couple days or a week or something and be like, been thinking about what you said. It's like that question. So I'll give you an idea. What rolls around in my dome is
Okay.
that question that you just gave me is a small, sharp, or a small pebble with a bunch of sharp edges to it. That's the way I look at that question you just gave me. Now it's going to be rolling around in my dome and my eye, and I need to smooth out those edges and figure it out. But my instant thing that came to mind is that the balance that I have is because I've seen both sides of that. And now when I saw my newborn son, when he came into the world, there's nothing more beautiful than that. And the way he treats me when I come home and the way I see him act around my wife and the way he looks at her, and that's beautiful. That's true beauty to me. And to see that compared to other things I've seen back in the day, that's why that's so beautiful. I look at all, like, you're look at that. I know that face. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, this is the thing. Like, there is a part of me which is like very curious to sort of delve a little bit deeper, like to like go, right, look, you've like you say you've known like violence and you've like taken part in it, but you prefer to stay in the light. Like, what sort of why did you get drawn? Was it a case of, was it your environment? Why did you get involved in
Envi-
that side of it? Violence, yes.
Money and violent, or money and environment. Money spoke a lot when uh when you get paid that kind of money, you
Mm.
know, on Sunday afternoon, you go, into the office and there's a white envelope with a bunch of cash in it because of the stuff that you've done the week before. And you see that kind of money, you're like, fuck, what do you need next? Next? What else you need? And you're young, full of piss and vinegar, and you think you're invincible. And then when I got to a certain age, I've got broken bones and staples and, you know,
Mm.
shot and stabbed and all sorts of shit, dude. So, but I saw the conclusion of that lifestyle.
Mm.
As I got deeper into it, the conclusion of that lifestyle was prison, death, worse, whatever. And I'm like, that's not going to work. And I remember sitting in the prosecutor's office and she had the files all laid out. And she says, for 6 months, no, 18 months, you don't get in trouble. This all gets sealed and basically destroyed. You're good. I was like, shit. All right. This is my ticket out.
Mm.
And I got married. Anyway.
Be careful, because I sense some of that violence might come to you quite
Yeah.
quickly.
Anyway, I thought that would be the best thing for me. Sure, it was better than the alternative, but that didn't work out. I'm not, I know now there's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with me. We just didn't match. But so yeah, I took that avenue. Haven't been in trouble since. So, and I said, you know what, man, I don't want to end up, and I still know a lot of the people that are still in that lifestyle. And I talk to them once in a while and, they're still at it. And I'm like, fuck that, dude, doop,
Mm.
doop, 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 doop. So
I would imagine if they're in that type of lifestyle, whatever it might be, I'm not gonna like, like Yeah,
I really like the movie Goodfellas, so we're just gonna throw that out
fair enough. Yeah, I would imagine like yes, the crew you started out with and like you left behind, I don't think there's going to be as many members as it started out originally with.
there. Not even a fraction.
Mm.
And the two main reasons that you don't last is where 95% of them went. They're either sitting in jail or 6 foot under.
Mm.
So, or they're just all of a sudden not around anymore.
Uh,
Yeah.
mm.
Anyway, but yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. It gave me a lot of experience. It gave me a lot of stories kind of to tell, there's really, you can go into your imagination and do what you want. I mean, we could get into those stories if you want, but that's, you know,
Hey, like this is the thing. Like I sense on other occasions we'll get into those
yeah,
stories.
that's yeah.
Like,
I like to keep these lighthearted, man.
hey,
So
no worries. Like this is the thing. No doubt when you come over to the UK at some point, like yes, raising a glass of bourbon to you in my company, and yeah, having those
that,
conversations then.
the way I used to tell people, that's funny you bring that up. The way I used to tell people, except my wife, she knows, but uh I said that's a 6 pack and a handle in. And then we
Mm.
start telling those stories. That was back in the day when I was drinking, but uh it was cool though. It was not what you think it was. Most of the time it was stupid and boring, and it's nothing like people dramatize it, or not dramatize it. What's
Fantasize. Oh.
fantasy? No, not even a fraction of that. Not even a fraction of a fraction of that. It's
Mm.
actually disgusting and dirty, and you see the fucking absolute worst in people, and it's sleazy. And anyway, yeah. So
Mm.
that's why I don't like to get into it. I like to put my energy into positive stuff now, and but I needed, I didn't want to leave you hanging with your question. So
Oh,
that's
no, like no respect to you for like answering it as well as you could because like look, I understand. I didn't want to take you into an epic dark place, but it was like if I didn't ask, I'd be like, okay, I should have asked. It's like yeah, but yeah, but like this is the thing. Like it had like through those times, like walking that walk down that path, it's taken you like from that darkness into a much more of a positive direction. You're now with your wife. You've got a newborn son. Like and look, you're doing your podcast and like yeah, living the best life you can be living at this present time. You know.
100%. It's so blessed to what I have around me and I surround myself with, but that's a choice too, because back then I had the choice and I surrounded myself with what I surrounded myself with, and look what that got me, you
Yeah.
know. But uh, one thing though that got me away from that was fitness.
Yes, I
The
am
gym,
sure.
the gym was this way, and
Yes.
everything else was this way. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go over here and burn off that energy over here at the gym instead of burning off the energy over here. It's the same amount. It's to me, it's the same energy because I truly believe in my heart there's a phrase that a saying that says every man. God, I don't want to butcher it. Give me a second. Let me look it up real quick. I don't want to butcher it because I didn't write it. I found it. If somebody knows the true art or the true author of the saying, I would love to know. Hang on a second. I got right here. Deep in his heart, every man longs for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. Uh, in our DNA, we'll talk as men, right? You and I are men. That you're right. You don't identify as something else, do you?
Own a parsnip on the weekends. But
Oh,
that's
nice, dude. I like
no, uh, I,
that.
I I taste especially well with sauteed honey.
I love it. But in our DNA, again, it's what I believe. In our DNA, we are built to go to war, to be battled, to protect, to do that kind of thing. Like, look, as cavemen, you fought off whatever they fought off, and you're out. Now you're out. You got to fight an animal or another person, and it quote unquote an adventure because now you got to go find stuff that supplies for your family. Okay. Then a beauty to rescue. What are you going on an adventure to find all that stuff for? Your family and your wife back at home. Right? So hundreds of thousands of years that was bred and built into our DNA. That just doesn't get bred and taken out in a couple hundred years. So once we started doing, being civilized, sure, we civilized back in Roman days, but even in Roman days, they went to battle all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Physical battle. Like you watch that and you're like, I don't know if I'd have the balls to carry a sword and go out on the field and run straight to hundreds of men in front of me and try to kill them all, you know? But that's what's built into us, right? So, me personally, I use the gym as my battleground. The adventures are the adventures that I go on, with my family or by myself. And the beauty to rescue, my modern day term of that is that you supply for, if you have a wife or a husband or whoever your mate is,
Mm-hmm.
you supply for them, right? You go out in the world during the day and work instead of hunting and gathering. Now you have a job, which is basically the same thing as hunting and gathering. Somebody pays you, then you go to the grocery store and you buy your food, right? But and then so that's my modern version of that saying. I believe that a man needs to like get that aggressiveness out of, not every man, of course, right? Because using the Roman days, you had philosophers and all that. They didn't need to go to battle. They didn't need to punch people and kill people, right? So, but that goes back to your balance, right? So, us as men, you have balance. You have the warrior, and then you have your philosopher to make it light and dark.
Mm.
So, that's my overall look at us as men, us as humans. That's in our DNA. Just like kitchen table is the modern day campfire. How do you show success back in the caveman days? You brought home meat and everybody sat around the campfire and ate heartedly. That's success. That builds community. That builds camaraderie. Nowadays, we sit at the table or we sit here and talk like you and I are. This means success. As of right now, you and I are successful because we have the time and the luxury to sit here for 2 hours and have a conversation. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. Yes. Look, put it this way: much of the things you say, like it marries up with one of my favorite human beings in the world. Yes, like former Navy SEAL. Like yes, runs like a demon. One like David Goggins. I don't know if you know him,
Oh,
but yes, like he talks about like much of the things you say. Like he basically, yeah, not like paraphrase it, he will say, yes, people need to suffer to basically get the most out of their lives and stuff like this. I would most probably soften the edge a little bit and go, yeah, people need challenges. Honestly, truthfully, if you're not challenging yourself on a sort of day to day, weekly, monthly, year to year basis, that's when people, how can I put it? not so much like get soft, but they get lost. And if they are chasing a fuzzy why, that's when it's a case of that's when things can go horribly wrong for them. If they are after a why which is strong, which has weight, gravity towards it, like on it, it pulls them along like with that gravity. It gives them their focus and purpose on a day-to-day basis, you know?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, dude.
Mm.
And then, do you listen to Jocko?
Like this is the thing. I listen to Jocko every now and then when he's like podcasts, like sort of pops up. Uh, how can I put it? Jocko, like he talks in such a way because I've like had it. Oh, what is his book? I listened to his book last year. I cannot remember it. But he talks in such a way that it's kind of like intense, but it's like I can't really sort of focus on his voice. It's like okay, I get what you're saying, but it's like, ah. So like when he's like there with like echo, just like yes, and then like growing ever so much over the microphone, you're like, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I give you that. How about Andy Frisella?
Have
I think you'd like that dude.
no, I haven't. I haven't heard like listened to any of his stuff. Not yet, but yes, by all means,
His
I am.
his older stuff. Um, when you work out, well, when I work out, I listen to Machiavelli Motivation on YouTube,
Okay, yeah,
and it's music and it has motivational clips from different people.
yes.
Okay, and that's how I found Andy Frisella. And
Ah,
then he had a podcast, the MFCEO project, where he was hollering and screaming. He just speaks my language like David Goggins. He just hollers and screams. He's like, "Don't be a bitch, go to work," you know, and it's
yeah.
like that kind of thing. So he got over the last couple of years, he got quite political and stuff, and I've kind of veered away from him a little bit. But his older stuff, you look him up, his older stuff
Mm.
is, dude, that dude gets me riled up every time I listen to him. But yeah, he's a good one. Uh, but yeah, David Goggins is what I like. I mean, even Andy Frisella, he's true. He built something. He didn't
Yeah.
have shit. He built something. David Goggins, look at him, dude. You read his book, obviously.
Oh yeah, can't
Yeah,
hurt me. Oh,
yeah. Oh my god, dude,
his
incredible,
father.
right?
His father. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
No.
So I mean, that's a guy that's been through it and did it, right? So
Mhm.
he can talk. He can talk post game, right? He did it. Now he can talk shit. He's not going, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then he doesn't do anything, right? So
Mm.
respect for people like that talk post game.
Yeah. No. And like this is the thing. When like it's a case of when you have people like this talking, saying this, there are many people like going, oh my God, that's too much. That's insane. It's like, whoa. You don't need to go at the same level as like these people because look, trust me, if I tried to keep up with like David Goggins or like Frick, any one of these sort of characters, I'll be like, okay, like why are you lying down on the ground? That's
Come on, man. We're supposed to.
no. Call me an ambulance. They can find me right here. I'm already lying in the recovery position. I'll be fine. just call that ambulance. It's not about that. It's like even if you just took on the concept of like going, okay, each day be 1 or 2% better than you were yesterday, and you keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. Okay, yeah, like you said with the AKG, the EKG going up and down. You're not gonna. It's not a constant rise. It's
Right.
gonna be like going up, coming down again, going up, up, up. But you give that a few weeks, a few months, you are 50% better than you were before. You might be 100% better than you were before. And people are like, oh, yeah, but you've got to plateau sometime. Yes, you do. But in comparison to where you were starting from, you are considerably better. And if you
Yeah.
want to go beyond that, that's when you start bringing in other people and building that team to lift you up, because there's one thing which is totally true in this world: you cannot do it by yourself. And if everyone goes, yeah, you can do it by yourself, you can get so far. Then you need to have that team of people around you. And if you build that, yeah, greatness is in store.
Yeah, 100%. I did a small episode on my show because every other week I do a full episode, and every other week I do a thing called Off the Cuff, where it's just me for like 10 minutes spitting about whatever I want to talk about.
Ah.
Right. So I did one where you can't white knuckle it and do it by yourself, man. You need to check your ego and go, I don't know about that. Let me ask somebody. Done.
Yeah.
Look at, and like you just said, and that just helps and helps and helps. I mean, even the best people in the world, like, well, best, however you want to explain it, successful people in the world, like Elon Musk and what's the guy, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Both of them still have a mentor. Can you imagine being Elon Musk's mentor?
Okay, yeah, you talked about like electric cars, tunnels, and everything like this, connecting people's brains and neural networks. Okay, but yeah, I'll enter you. It's like you keep on. You're like the richest man in the world at this moment in time. Oh no, it's Jeff. Oh, now it's you. Like going back and forth every minute.
But that's the thing, though. I use that example of, okay, so who the fuck are you that's saying you can't reach out to somebody and help you when guys like that still reach out to have people help them? Come on, dude. Right. Yeah. And I put in one of my episodes too was about being sober. And I like using the term white knuckling, because that just tells me that you're hanging on, dude, and you don't have any other option. So your knuckles are white and you're hanging on tight. And if you're white knuckling it, man, just reach out to somebody. It's that simple. The day I decided to become sober, it was a challenge, very big challenge for me to call somebody to help me. I'm like, I can do this. And I found out within like 12 hours, I'm like, nope, I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
I called somebody.
Like, how did you get over the obstacle of yourself, like, well, your pride, which often gets in the way of many of us?
I just don't give a fuck. I don't care what you think. Is that what you're asking?
No, basically, this is the thing. You go, like, you went, yeah, I asked someone, which, you know what I mean? I agree with. Ask people, get that help, everything like this. But there are people out there which will be prideful. They will, like, you know what I mean? They just, like, rather than sort of yield and go, yeah, I need help, they, like, their pride will bolster them up and go, no, I'm myself.
You're just being an asshole at that point. What's the point of that? So what do you got to prove to somebody? Or what is it that stopping you that why can't you reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you help me? Because they're going to think less of you. Get out of here, dude. They're going to think more of you when you, that's what I found. That's what I found. That, that never crossed my mind. I never had that issue. When I reached out to somebody for help, it never crossed my mind. Oh my God, they're going to think less of me. No, I'm like, I can't do it. Hey man, can you help me? Let me ask you this. When you got to pick up a box, you know damn well that you can't lift it by yourself. You know damn well you can't. It's 300 pounds and it's as big as a kitchen table. Do you mind asking somebody for help? I'm asking, do you mind? Do you go, hey man, can you help me move this?
For myself, no, it's not a problem. Like other people, when it comes to like that, like metaphorical, like 300-pound box in life, they're like, no, I won't ask for help. And they find themselves like stuck. But like, this is the thing, like I would say you come from a much more healthy place than a lot of like people who will not ask for that help. who will not like, oh, you know what? Fuck my pride. Fuck that bullshit. I need help to get me onto that next step to help me get down that path, you know?
Yeah, and you were talking earlier about, just a few minutes ago about, just a little bit from
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, just a little bit from yesterday.
Yep.
You're, when you're going to plateau is when you don't check your ego. Now, where are you going to go? Dude, you can't. It. Now, I got to balance this conversation out. Back in the day, my ego was as thick as the wall of China, Great Wall of China. And there was no way I was checking it. And I was going to destroy the world by myself and fuck anybody. Now I can do this. I don't need nobody's help. I've been on that side too.
Mm.
It just, I don't know if it's through experience or getting older or, my wife brought a view of when we got together, my wife brought a view of the world to me that was not known to me at the time. And that has a lot to do of how I think now, just from her point of view of things. Uh, you know, I just look at it different. Yeah, that I don't know how to explain it. You know, it'd be a 6-hour conversation if I sit here and try to explain it, but which is fine with me, man. We could sit here all day, but it, I've just learned that white knuckling it and not checking your ego and yeah, check your ego, man. Oh, big deal. What is the big deal if the metaphorical 300-pound boxer, I go, hey, bud, can you help me move this?
Mm.
And somebody will go, no. Okay. The next guy comes by, hey, can you help me move this? Yeah, sure, dude. No problem. And you move it. So I don't know. Maybe there's more that people think than I do, but I use that. The reason I bring that up, it's the same thing. You need help, just ask somebody. And some people will say no. The guy that um, helps me with my sobriety, he's been sober for like 35 years and he's gone through a ton of people. He's tried to help and they go right back drinking and stuff. And he's like, for the first 10, 12 years, I thought I was failing because I'm supposed to help them stay sober. And they go, keep drinking. He goes, what is it? The serenity prayer, give me the power to choose the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Recognize what I can change, recognize what I can't change and know the difference. And he goes, I just realized that it's on them. They're never going to change. No matter what I say to them, how much I help them, even if I help them for 5 years, give them all my time for 5 years. And the minute I don't give them my time, boom, they're drinking again. He goes, I can't sacrifice that kind of thing. He goes, you got to take personal responsibility.
Mm.
You can't dump all your responsibility on somebody. You got to carry some weight, you got to pull your own weight when it comes to that shit.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. And like, this is the thing, personal responsibility, pulling your weight when it's called upon is important. And I think it's one of those things which sometimes gets neglected because we can always, like, much of the world today, you can say passes on the buck, but it's a case of that buck comes around, you need to make payment comes due at some point. It's just a case of it's just a case of time. That's all.
Absolutely. And here's another example, and it brings it into another story of, well, it's a good story. I like telling it, but talk about asking for help. So one morning, about 2:00 in the morning, I woke up and I couldn't feel from my waist down.
Yes.
I couldn't feel. I couldn't feel anything. I touched my thigh, nothing. I was like, fuck, what the fuck? Now, backstory real quick. The day before, my wife and I we volunteered to, it's called Habitat for Humanity, and where you volunteer your time to build houses for the less fortunate.
Okay.
So we do that. and I was putting in a kitchen floor, a wood kitchen floor, tongue and groove kitchen floor. And I stood up and I felt and heard a pop in my back. I was like, fuck. All right. I've hurt my back before. And I'm like, all right. I'm going to have to put some ice on this later. Finish the day out, drive home, not feeling good. Tell my wife, so I'm going to bed, man. Whew, man, my back is killing me. And woke up, couldn't move my legs. And I sat there for a few minutes and it was fun. We laugh at it now, but I wake her up and I say, hey, I'm having trouble with my legs. And she's like, oh, just breathe. It'll be okay. And she's like half asleep. She's like, breathe. It'll be okay. She's like rubbing my chest and it's okay, baby. Just go to sleep. I'm like, all right, maybe it'll be all right. And then the pain set in and it was crazy, dude. So it was apparent, need to call 911. Going back to what we were talking about, I got to ask for help, dude. Right? I'm not going to white knuckle this. So obviously we call an ambulance. I get to the hospital and they're like, holy cow. They give me some drugs. I could still feel the pain. They put me in a twilight. They call it twilight, where you're kind of like, you're not unconscious, but you're pretty fucked up. And because of my past and the drug use and the deal, all that kind of thing, I'm like, whew, man, where was this back in the day? This is good stuff.
It's like, hello, Mr. Hand.
Dude, no wonder people fake it and try to get that what I can't remember the name of it. But it was, I go, no wonder people get addicted to this stuff.
Was it morphine?
No, it was like 7 times more powerful.
Okay.
It was, yeah. So I wake up in hospital bed on a morphine drip. And long story short, the guy comes in. Do you know Columbo? Remember that TV show back in the day with Columbo, the detective?
Yeah. Peter, what was his name? Peter.
Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, this guy looked like him. He was all disheveled, hair a mess, carrying books. And he goes, dude, quote, he walks right up to me and goes, the fuck you do? I was like, I hurt my back. And he goes, I knew you were a big guy by the amount of drugs they were giving you and by your CAT scan. Huh. Okay. And he leaves. That was it. I was like, okay. I don't know who that dude was. And the night nurse comes in and goes, you are so lucky. He's going to take your case. I was like, that's cool. Who? She goes, the doctor. He just came in. I go, that was the doctor? I saw, and I loved him immediately. I love his bedside manner. He just knew how to handle me. And he's just a great dude. I can't even tell you, nowhere near enough good about him. Clement is his name, and he's out of Montclair, New Jersey. And come to find out, he was Ronald Reagan's neurosurgeon.
Wow.
Right? That's what I said. I was like, all right, so I guess I'm in pretty good hands,
right? Yeah.
He's like, you don't know stress unless you're working on somebody's brain with a room full of guys with guns. And I was like, all right. So he comes in and he explains, I had a disc that exploded and it pushed down all my nerves and stuff. So I couldn't feel my legs, couldn't operate my legs. I got a little bit, as the days went on, I got a little bit of movement from my right leg, but my left leg was dead. I was like, fuck. And he comes in, he goes, all right, so this is what we're going to do. This is the plan. In 7 days, we're going to operate. And I went, 7 days. And he goes, I won't operate on you unless I have my own vascular surgeon, and he's not available until this day. I went, fuck, dude, I got to stay here until then? And he looks me up and down. I'm in a bed. And he looks me up and down. And he goes, where the fuck you going to go? And I was like, I love you, dude.
What, you got a dancing lesson to go to or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah. And he was smiling when he said it, and it was fun, man. Again, I love this guy, love him to death. And so, there I sat, dude. I tell you what, man, I have nothing but respect for people that spend a ton of time in hospital with an injury. I completely lost it. Completely lost it. Like the day before my surgery, my wife came in and I broke down crying like a 5-year-old baby, dude. I'm like, you got to get me out of here. I can't take this shit no more. You know, it's just depressing, sitting in a hospital bed. It's fucking depressing. And I've done volunteer work with vets where I go see them and they're bedridden for years. And I'm like, dude, I do not have the mental capability. It'd be like caging a lion. I gotta be out and about and running around and doing my thing. But anyway, so he comes in and he says, because of your lifestyle, you're in great shape. Your blood works great. And I want to make sure that you can maintain your lifestyle. I want to put this piece in your back, this carbon fiber piece, and it articulates. So it acts like a joint. I was like, cool, great. He goes, that's option A. I was like, all right. And he goes, option B, we fuse the disc together.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And he goes, it'll severely limit what you can do and da 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 da. And I was like, fuck, yeah. And he's sitting there for a minute, for a couple beats, and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and I go, option C. And he turns and walking away, he goes, you don't ever walk again. And I was like, he gets to the door, turns and looks at me, he goes, but we're shooting for option A, and walks out the door. I was like, holy shit, dude. And every time I've seen him, every time my wife and I saw him, and every time I saw him, he was tired looking, disheveled, just, it was, dude, I'm like, okay, all right.
Don't I trust this guy?
Yeah.
He worked for Ronald Reagan.
But that was
some years ago.
Exactly. Like, I used to be in the 5th grade. I was pretty stout back then, but okay.
Okay.
And dude, I tell you what, the morning of the surgery, so I'm down in the prep area. They prep me up, and of course, my wife's hanging out with me, and we're in this little curtain room, right?
Yeah.
And we hear him talking. I'm like, all right, Doc's here. He whipped open the curtain. And I was like looking around, like trying to look past him, looking for the doctor. Didn't even recognize him, dude. Bright, cheerful, clean shaven, just solid. Literally had rose-colored glasses on. And I'm like sitting there going, holy okay. And he's like, yep, and acted the same, of course, right? Because he's like, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. And he walks away. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. All right. I got to trust him. We're this far, Tells my wife, he goes, I'll call you after the surgery to let you know how it goes. Okay. So he calls my wife after the surgery. She picks up and he's like, yeah, everything went well. There's a lot of debris, but everything's good. Okay. Say, okay, good. Thanks. Click. And my wife's like, okay, I guess everything's good. And I came out of the recovery room, which was a bitch. Recovery was a fucking bitch. But come into the room, and my wife and one of her girlfriends that works at the hospital was there. And I saw her. I'm in the bed, and I'm laying in my bed, and I'm high as fuck from the surgery. I'm laying there, and they leave, and I pass back out. And my wife, when I wake up, she's like, man, you were laughing and stuff in your sleep. And I go, I can't remember when I tripped that good. All I can remember from that, the smiling and laughing face of the theater symbol?
Yeah.
I saw that. They were talking to me, and then I saw the vanilla Oreos, and they were spinning. And that's all I remember. But it was amazing. It was an incredible trip, dude. And again, now I know why druggies get after those kind of drugs.
Was it Novocaine they gave you?
I have no idea, dude. My wife's probably got it in the notes, but I don't know, and I don't really care. It just felt really good. But anyway, that was at like, I don't know, in the afternoon, Friday afternoon. Yeah. I get back. Later that night, a lady shows up, a physical therapist, and gets me out of bed. So by the way, the option A. So I got
Yeah.
the little thing in my back. The physical therapist got me out of bed that day. Walked down to her no, when I say walk, I had a walker and I was like shuffling my feet half inch at a time, right? But I was on my feet
Mm.
and I could feel my legs and I'm like, this is amazing. Walk into her room and painted on her room in the wall, as big as the wall says motion is lotion. And it was so profound to me at the time, and it still is. And a little shameless plug, if you look in my merch store, I have motion is lotion merchandise because I honestly believe that us as humans need to be walking around and moving. We're built to move around, not sit in an office chair for 10 hours a day. But that's a whole other conversation. So she's like, what do you think? I go, that is awesome. So in the room, they had uh, a sink. Now, I'm telling you, dude, there are going to be people out there listening that understand what I'm about to say. You have no idea how amazing your back is until it's fucked up and you try to bend over and brush your teeth.
Oh.
Dude, it was crazy because it was sore. I just got worked on, right? But just that little movement of bending forward a little bit to brush your teeth, not bending right over like you would in the sink, way down and brush, but just a little bit so when you dribble, it don't fall in, falls in the sink.
Yeah.
Just that simple motion. If your back is jacked up, anyway, I just realized that. So she had like a sink, some stairs, mock toilet, so, she went through, hey, sit down, stand up, and that kind of thing. So I started that. And I told my wife, I said, whatever the neurosurgeon and the physical therapist say, I'm checking my ego. I don't care what they say. I'm doing it to the T. I don't care. I'm not going to be that guy that, hey, I'm 2 weeks in. Oh, I feel great. Fuck whatever they say. No, I'm not going to do it. I feel great. So I literally walked out of the hospital the next day on my own power. Crazy, right? So I go to the neurosurgeon as a follow-up, on Monday. He goes, looking at you, knowing you now, I know I can't keep you out of the gym. You're going to the gym. I go, uh-huh. And he goes, the free weight section, he goes, let's compromise. I go, dude, whatever you say, man. What do you got? He goes, the free weight section doesn't exist to you. Okay? He goes, for 2 weeks, I want you to do this and this only on the machines. And he gave me a little regimen, right? Cool, no problem. Every other day, every day, depending on my schedule, I was in the gym doing what he said. Come back for my 2 week check, 2 weeks later, he goes, now I want you to do this, this, and this for 2 weeks. Okay. Did that for 2 weeks, came back. Excuse me. He goes, now I want you to do this, this, and this for a month. No problem. Dude, 3 months after, I was stronger than I ever have been in my life. Physically stronger. It was amazing what happened. And I only saw my physical therapist like twice. She goes, Clement's got you, man. If you need something, call me. But she gave me a little regimen for the weekend. She Google Earth our apartment building. And she's like, this is your apartment building? I'm like, you stalking me? She goes, yeah. She goes, I want you to, every 2 hours, basically watch a movie, get up. I want you to walk the length of your apartment building, go down a flight of stairs, walk the length back, go up the flight of stairs, come back, rest, watch a movie, 2 hours, do it again. I want you to repeat this every day. And this was on Saturday morning, she tells me this. And she goes, by Wednesday, I want you walking a mile outside. No problem. Check. Gotcha, babe. Whatever you say. and then added that to what Clement gave me in the gym. Amazing, dude. Now I can do a 1100 or 1100 pound triple. Not think none of it.
Mm. 1,100 pound triple. Ah,
Yeah.
like deadlifting.
So my bench, deadlift, and squat equal 1100 pounds.
Ah,
So what I do, and I don't do it often, but when I do the triple, I'll set it up and I'll do one set. So I'll bench,
yep,
do one bench, one squat,
yep.
one deadlift. I'll jump rope until I fuck up. So I'll sit there until I mess up, right? Step on the
Yeah.
rope or whatever. I'll do one and one, jump rope until I mess up, one and one, jump rope till I mess up, one and one till I mess up. And I repeat that until I'm just fucking. But I'll do that about once every 4 months. That's like my little test of max or my little, but my normal routine is I pick a muscle group and for like an hour, I just crush it until I can't even operate it anymore. And then I do about 30 minutes of cardio,
Yep.
sit in a sauna for about 20 minutes, and down the road I go, man. I love the sauna. Love a good sauna.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Like
200,
when, oh, sorry, you're gonna say?
200 degrees for about 15, 20 minutes. Woo. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not to 180 degrees. 180. They keep it at 180 degrees.
Nice,
I do.
nice. Like okay, like when you're training to failure, like is it free weights or is it a case of plate loaded machines or is it resistance machines?
So resistance, I don't mess around with much.
Uh-huh.
My normal routine would be, let's see, yesterday morning I did chest and buys. So then what I do is I call it a farmer workout.
Okay.
I do really low, not really low, but to me, low weight and like 20 reps, or I rep till failure.
Mm.
So like on the machine, on the bench machine where you're doing a incline,
Yeah.
the incline, I think I had like 180 pounds on it. And I just sit there and rep it out until I can't even get it off you know, that's one set. Then I'll go and do buys the same way. I'll pick the weight on a machine or on a dumbbell, and I'll do buys until they're burning so bad that I can't even pick the thing up, right? And then I'll go before I start my bench again. Uh, I'll do as many air squats as I can. So I'll squat, just next to
Yeah.
the chest machine. I'll just sit there and squat. I'll do 25, 30 of those and then bench, buys, squats, you know. That's one to me, that's one set. And I pick exercises to create 3 sets. So that's one set. Then I'll go to a straight bench,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I use machines. I don't use a flat bench because my back, I stay away from the flat bench because I can't put my feet down. The way the thing in my back operates,
Ah,
it's got a little thing in it to prevent me from going backwards too far.
right.
So a flat bench it doesn't operate good for me. So I stay away from the flat bench. So now I just use machines, cables and machines. Uh, so then I'll do 3 sets of something else. So I've done incline by squats. Okay. So now I'll go to straight bench. Then I'll do buys again. I'm still doing buys, but I'll do like the cable buys and I'll pull them sideways. So
Yeah.
it's working my core at the same time. And then I'll do as many pull-ups as I can. Because you get your back flexed up, it helps with your bench, right? So I'll do as many pull-ups as I can, just body weight pull-ups. Then I'll bench, buys again, pull-ups. I'll do 3 sets of that. Then I'll take 3 more exercises and that's my workout. It takes me about 40, 45 minutes to go through that routine.
No, that's swift. That's efficient. Like, yeah.
No, nonstop, dude. I take a pre-workout. I'm fucking jacked. I put my headphones in so loud that I don't pay attention to anybody. I don't say nothing to anybody. I just get after it, dude. No, this is me time, dude. Don't talk to me. No, don't look at me. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
that guy at the gym.
no, no, I respect your antisocialness in the gym. Like, yeah, like, don't, like, trust me. Yeah, if you saw me in the gym, I'll just be pacing backwards and forwards. But yeah, after between each machine, just like, yeah, snap that. If you're gonna talk to me, yeah, make it swift, quick. Like if I know you, I'll tolerate it. But
Yeah, exactly.
it's like if it's anyone else, I'm like, okay, yeah, right.
No, the most communication I'll have is you ever. So I got to this new deal like this. I got to a new gym because you know the phrase that if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
You hear that? My old gym, I'm like, I'm so plateaued here. I'm not gaining anything. I just need to find something more challenging. Going back
Mm,
to challenge, right? So I found this gym that uh, logistically works very well for me to go to work and all that, right?
yeah.
And it's a beautiful gym, and they got some old school equipment. Like I can see they're like welded together and painted. And if you don't know what you're doing with it, like I can see people come into this equipment going, I have no idea. What is that? I don't know what to do with me. I'm like, get out of the way, dude. This is amazing. So, but they got new stuff too, and it's huge. It's beautiful. It's like a country club. Like, in the men's room has its own sauna. You know, the men's and ladies have their own sauna and steam room and all that. And I don't know where I was going with that, but it's a beautiful gym. What the hell was I going with that? Nah, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, that's the best part about it, right? So, but the gym is just part of. I know it. I know, no. So now when I walked in there was ladies and women that make me look like a bitch, and I was like, respect. That's I commend you for that. Look at you, man. You're a beast. And of course, there's guys in there. Two Mr. Olympias have called that home, this gym, right? So
Nice.
give you an idea of the type of gym. It just feels good to, now it's like, I don't see myself ever plateauing in this place, right? But then there's groups of people, right? You get to, I go at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I see the same guys and the same ladies every morning. But that same people that are there at 5, you get the people there, they're just kind of like, hey, I'm here at the gym. I'm going to work out a little bit. Okay, cool. And then you get the group that's like, I'm hitting it. This is cool. I'm hitting it pretty hard, but yeah, I'm working out. I feel good. My Instagram looks good, And then you got the group that like are old school. They don't give a shit. They're in there just busting ass, right? And they're bigger guys and they're older guys and stuff like that. And not by my choice, but I ended up in this group. So now the guys in this group, they walk by at a certain point, they'll give you they'll fist bump you.
Mm.
Or two machines over, they give you the little nod, But that's about the only communication that I have at the gym. Then I go into the sauna. I work on my phone until it overheats. I get cleaned up and I walk out the front door, and that's it, dude. That's I'll see you tomorrow, bro. But some of these old guys, man, fuck, dude, you look at them and go, God damn, bud, good for you. They don't look it, they look like they're in shape, obviously. And then you see the weight that they're pushing or pulling. You're like, fuck. Oh, I'm 75. There's guys in there 70 plus years old just killing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what are the gyms like over there?
Like,
Are they
like over here, you've got, like, how can I put it? Like, you've got your sort of budget gyms where, you know what I mean? It's like, Planet Fitness equivalent to what you've got. Okay, you've got that. That's, I would say, Pure Gyms, the equivalent of that. Then you got some gyms which are a little bit more higher up. They're sort of I'm gonna say Equinox, that I think that marries up with,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh that
So
yeah.
yeah, so you got like on the low tier of sort of Equinox, then to the high tier of that, and then you've got your CrossFit like gym, well, boxes,
Boxes.
and yeah, a place where I frequent is like a bodybuilder's gym, like the old like yeah steel plates. If they could get sawdust, they'll just throw it on the floor, type situation. So yeah, um, I am in there on most occasions. Yeah, lifting, like pushing, like either hitting the plate loaded machines, and yeah, a little bit of free weights, but yes, making it happen on a daily basis.
Oh, good for you. Congrats, man.
Hey, hey,
It-
has to be done. If you're not using it, you're going to be losing it. And as time goes by, yeah,
dude, I'm stealing that from you.
if I see on a t-shirt, I want 15%, no 20. Hey,
See, hey, this is where I came up with this logo, dude.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
if you're back in the day, I don't talk to anybody anymore at the gym, but back in the day, it was like a social club, right? You were working out and you worked out hard,
yes.
you know. To give you an idea, oh man, back in my bouncing and security days, people would Dion was my uh partner at work, and then we'd go to the gym together. And this dude was just he was just a monster, right? And people go, "Hey, we want to go lift with you and Dion." I go, "Perfect." So what you're gonna do? Not a problem, dude. And they're like, "Oh, awesome." I go, "For the first week, the only thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna put on and remove the plates and stuff that we use." And they're like, "That's not working out." I go, "Okay, come check. Come on, dude. Come along with us." Nobody ever lasted more than 2 days, dude. Just because we were moving so much weight. I mean, you're doing 405 on a bench, you're doing 800 pounds on a leg press. So I mean, you look at all the weight that you got to move on and off, all the plates, right?
Oh yeah.
And of course, the people that were wanted to work out with us were like, "Come on, man, go, dude. Wait, fuck, dude, we ain't gonna sit here all day. Come on, man, go, go, go." And they're like, "Oh, like, fuck, I'm tired." I'm like, "And you ain't even done the exercise yet." So that was like a running joke with us. But back then, I'd be working out and say you were there, right? And you just did a crazy set of 700-pound leg press and it just killed you. You did like 7, 8 reps, right?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there breathing heavy. And I saw that you just stopped, dude. You just dropped the weight. Pow. I walk by and I go, "Fuck, what the fuck, dude? Well, shit ain't gonna lift itself. Come on, man, get after it." And I'd walk away. You're like, "Dude, I just," and I go, and people will be just like, "Dude, I just," oh. And so from that day, dude, shit ain't gonna lift itself, man. Come on. And the Rock says the weight ain't gonna kick its own ass. I like that one, but he uses that one, so I can't. But no, I use this one. And then as life got more, of course, it started in the gym. As life got on and on and on, I use it for everything.
Mm.
You know, you don't want to do the emails. You don't want to do the admin work of this podcast. You don't want to do something. Dude, shit ain't going to lift itself. It's my version of saying nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah. No, the discipline bleeds into all aspects of your life. It doesn't just live just in that gym.
No, right. I think it starts there and you carry that discipline in other aspects of your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
No, I am sorry to do this to you, Walt, because I could talk, but like the whole thing is like it is 9 o'clock here in the UK, just coming on to 9 o'clock. And yes, my next door neighbor's kids, if we start talking, yeah, they'll never get to sleep and I'll have angry neighbors for sure.
Well, hey, dude, I tell you what, let's put it on the schedule, do it again. I'll have you over on my show.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to do that. But
Cool.
yes. Well, can you tell how they can find you out there, sir?
Absolutely. The two of the best places. One is Instagram, WKT podcast. Um, I answer all my DMs. I like my Instagram. I put a lot of work and effort into it. And then uh, my website, waltskitchentable.com. It has everything you need to know about the show. And I've done a lot of blogging lately with it. I've never thought of myself as a writer. So check out the blogs. They're really cool. And then also on my website, I put out a one newsletter once a month, and sign right underneath my smiling mug. You'll see where you can sign up for the newsletter, and it's just I put some fun facts in there and some you get some laughs out of it. So if what I say is you want a little sunshine once a day in the month, man. It's super lighthearted. It's not heavy at all. So waltskitchentable.com and WKT podcast on Instagram. Those are the best places to get a hold of me.
Perfect. What I'll do, I'll put all the links in the description, in the show notes. So yes, please find Walt out there, sign up to his podcast, and yes, get some of that wise knowledge from this eloquent man. There you go.
Eloquent. I like how you brought that around, dude.
There you go.
That's awesome, dude.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming on today. You are a superstar. Boom.
I appreciate it, man.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors out there, for sticking with us to the end of the show. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Yes. Peace. And we are